statistical, mathematical fact
never has been down.
has broken every single record. There is no asset that has come close.
It's the only thing in the industry that was not touched, that was not hacked, and it never fails doing what it promised in 2009. It's never
What's
failed.
the best performing asset the world has ever seen? And you'll find out that
Yeah.
it's
Boom, boom, boom. All right, guys. Look, this is actually somewhat of a test. I just wanted to see if this worked. I finally got it working, I think. But listen, I actually want to do this in a more thorough way. I'm thinking about tomorrow sometime. So I'm hoping some of you can be available for that and I'll post that. But I know that, guys, I know a lot of people were sort of thrown by the spot Bitcoin ETF approvals and the price reaction shortly after that. I think that what the expectation that was built into that was a moon move to the upside. And while that was somewhat possible, I had my nagging doubts about it only because I know throughout, my career in the financial space that change of this magnitude does not happen like that. It takes about 6 to 9 months, sometimes actually a bit more, before a change of this magnitude is materially seen or felt in the market. The same way you find when the Federal Reserve raises or lowers interest rates, it takes about 10 months or so for that hike, anywhere from 6 to 9, 10 months, for that hike to actually materially be felt or seen in the overall economy. We're talking about big, intricate, moving things. And Bitcoin has sort of risen to that spot in terms of size where you just won't get this immediate effect that your short-term degenerate traders expect. And so while a lot of people were calling for a huge price move to the upside, and while I did not cancel that out as an impossibility, I didn't really think that was going to happen. And this is largely because in almost every case I'm aware of where a new ETF comes out, it takes time for that ETF to start having a material effect on the underlying assets. And I lived the spot gold ETF approval and um, that entity going live. It was highly anticipated at the time back in 2004. I dumped a huge portion of what I had into it, along with a lot of my traders as well, in January of 2005. And what we experienced with that ETF was back in early 2005. There was some price stability and maybe with a slight bias to the upside, but very marginally so, only to have boom, the underlying asset gold basically have a fairly significant move to the downside. Now, that's not strange. That's not abnormal when you have something like this. And I will go say this, and this is something that I actually posted and tweeted about, this 6 to 9 month, almost like from conception to birth period. I also mentioned in that tweet or that post, right? I mentioned that, or in another post, I think I mentioned it in another tweet or post. Yes, it was another one where if we really want these spot ETFs to truly have huge success, and I believe they will, then you do not want the price of the underlying asset in the beginning to start mooning to the upside. Because I will tell you this, I have been in the financial world for 4 decades, professionally, nearly 4 decades, 37 years. And I will tell you that throughout my entire career, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, with the highest degree of certainty, that institutions do not write checks when things are running to the upside. They don't. They don't. It's just not baked into our blood. We don't accumulate that way. Accumulation in big ways don't happen on the run to the upside. Institutions would rather, there's a saying in my industry, right? That is as old as time. Missed money is better than lost money. That's a popular saying. Missed money is better than lost money. And I'm constantly repeating this to my traders, by the way. So they would rather miss a move to the upside than to actually take the chance of being an idiot with other people's money going in with a thing skyrocketing to the upside. They would rather be on the sidelines. All right. It's baked into our blood to be this way, right? So we would actually, as institutions, we would prefer to have stable pricing and more preferably pricing to the downside. So remember, an institution is not going to put everything it has in on one day, at one moment, at one price. That's too much risk in one price. What institutions do when they start something, they diversify. They diversify over two different things. So I want you to think about an L, right? I think the L is in this direction in your case, right? So they diversify over an L. There's the horizontal part of the L, right? That's time. So they're going to put their money into a market over time. So let's say that time is 6 months, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months. So they're going to put a portion in the first month, a portion in the second month, a portion in the third month. They're not going to treat this like Vegas, right? Going to Vegas, I just dropped my bags at the roulette wheel. I'm going to take hundreds of millions of dollars and bet the whole thing on 13 red. They don't do that. And so what they do is they ease into a market over time. So let's say that time is statistically 6 to 9 months, right? That's number one. So they diversify over time. That's the horizontal axis. They also diversify over price, which is the vertical axis. That's why I said it's an L, right? So they don't want one price to be their entry. They want a range of prices to be their entry. You understand? And so let's say that range is 38 to 48. So they want to be in on the whole entire range from 38 to 48. They want some at 38s, they want some at 40s, they want some at 42s, they want some at 48s, they want some at 46s. So they're diversifying over time and price. All right. And and this process ultimately gets them their full stack, right? Now, the last thing they want while they're building their stack is for the underlying item to skyrocket to the upside. They're going to back off, close their checkbook. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the very best thing that could possibly happen for the ultimate success of these spot Bitcoin ETFs, the 11 that got approved, and trust me, guys, we're going to have hundreds of Bitcoin ETFs. This is just round one. All right. So to have the ultimate success would require that the underlying asset does not skyrocket, that it's stable and preferably to the downside. The fact that we're getting price movement to the downside is actually a very, very powerfully bullish thing. Now, I just made a post here about what was stated as BlackRock's accumulation over 1.5 days. 1.5 days, guys. 1.5 days. They're up to 11,500 Bitcoin. Guys, just think about this. There's only 900 new Bitcoin per day discovered, new issuance per day. 900 in a day and a half. BlackRock accumulated 11,400 some odd Bitcoin, almost 11,500. That's one. That's insane. Do you understand? Now, I want you to understand this, that number, I promise you, that number would have been significantly less if Bitcoin mooned to the upside in the 50s. They would have backed off. Institutions don't do that. They would have kept the money on the side. Now, I label this, so as the price is going down, BlackRock's ETFs their stack is going up, and you bozos are selling to their stack. That's incredible to me. You're looking at this downward movement as a negative, and the big money, the serious money, some of the brightest freaking minds on this planet are actually raising their stack, and you're lowering your stack. This is insane. It's a lack of sophistication, it's a lack of knowledge, and it's basically impatience. It's impatience and this novice-based mindset. Down is the very best thing that could ever happen at this particular point because of who has stepped into the game. What elephants have stepped into the bathtub? All right. And now I title this If I Were BlackRock. Okay. Let me tell you how I would play this if I were BlackRock. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is how they're playing it. Remember all of these reports that we heard about all the advanced money that BlackRock was getting and this firm was getting this? And they actually went out publicly. This is interesting. They played chess. They don't play checkers. You play checkers. They play chess. Right. So they went out publicly to announce, to leak the numbers that they were getting in. Oh, BlackRock has $2 billion lined up for their launch of the Bitcoin ETF. They leaked that on purpose. The other entities were leaking the numbers that were coming in, the cash that was coming in. Now, I don't doubt that those numbers are false. What I have always doubted and always knew that that's not going in on day one. What are you crazy? Nobody does that. Nobody takes their $2 million luggage, goes to Vegas, drops it before they even check in, drop it at the first roulette wheel they see in the hotel, and take the $2 billion and bet on one number, one day, one moment, one price. So maybe they got $2 billion. But is that going to be put into Bitcoin on day one? Yeah, right. Never in a zillion years. So, how would I play this if I were BlackRock? I'm going to tell you how I would play this, right? Smoke on this a bit. This is coffee, by the way, guys. Colombian coffee. You ready for this? This is how I would do it. The money comes in, but I'm telling the clients that are sending money in, I actually call them up to say, listen, we got to do this. Just start sending money in. We're going to put it in this account right now. All right. We're not putting it in the ETF right away. I just need it lined up here in this account. All right. I'm creating this money market account, especially for this. Let's just sock the money away here. We're bringing it in. This is earmarked for the spot Bitcoin ETF. Leave it up to us as to when we put it in, but we've got your commitment. If you send the money to this account, it's your commitment that we're going into the Bitcoin ETF. Just leave it up to us when we deploy it. We'll let you know. You'll receive the shares in your account when it's purchased, right? But right now it's in the money market account, right? As an example. It's an oversimplification, but you get what I'm saying. All right. So now, if I were BlackRock, I have this money stashed away. I can deploy it in an instant, but I'm not. I look over at all of my competition and I'm going to wait. One of my competition is the biggest ETF from the moment they launch. That's GBTC, right? That's the biggest. Now, I'm BlackRock. I want number one. I'm freaking BlackRock. Do you understand? I'm the number one. I want number one position. Now, BlackRock looks at GBTC. They didn't bring their fees down. They brought it down, but they only brought it down to 1.5%. And we all went down to the 20 basis points, 0.2%, 0.20, 0.25. I think the average of everybody is 0.3. And that's because GBTC is 1.5. So that's insane. So GBTC is out in this other universe with their fees. I'm BlackRock. I've got all of this money on the side ready to be deployed. I'm going to step back. I'll put a little bit in just to show the world that I'm not doing absolutely nothing, but I'm going to sit back. You know why I'm going to sit back? Because I'm going to wait for the redemptions in GBTC, the people who have no tax consequences that are saying, I'm not paying 1.5%. I was in this 2% prison for too long. I've got other options now. I don't take a tax hit by selling. I'm out. I'm going to Fidelity. I'm out. I'm going to BlackRock. I'm out. I'm going to Bitwise. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Now, if you look at what all of the other ETFs did, I think the total number that came in was close to $800 million. That's very decent, but you know they're holding back. That's day one, right? You know they're holding back. 800 million, it's impressive. It broke all records, but still, BlackRock announced $2 billion. It's on the side. And what they're doing is, if I were BlackRock, I would just let the redemptions keep coming from GBTC, pick up some gradually, but just let them dump first and then come in. All right. And not really be too much the other side, some of it. So they did start buying. Obviously, they wouldn't have had 11,500 new Bitcoin. All right. So, of course, they're buying, but not like it's going to come. When the redemptions from GBTC start to slow down, that's when you know you've gotten down to that point where these people are probably not going to sell for a while because they don't want to take a 40% tax, not a 40%. They don't want to take a 20% tax hit, and all they have to do is pay 1.5% a year. So it doesn't make sense for them to sell. When the flow of redemptions from GBTC, all of that GBTC being sold, that Bitcoin from GBTC being sold is going to the BlackRocks, the Fidelities. They're gobbling that up. You understand? So this is a method to deplete number one, the king right now, which is GBTC as far as AUM, assets under management, right? But their assets under management are going to shrink a little bit because their fees are high. Now, I don't think that what they did was wrong from a business perspective. I just think that they know we're going to have some outflows, but it's not going to be enormous because 1.5% versus a 20% tax hit, most people are just going to stay put. And they're probably right with that. All right. But still in the first week or so, those redemptions are going to happen. And out of all the spot Bitcoin ETFs, and the only one that had negative BTC was GBTC. So the game is right. If I were BlackRock, I'd be sitting aside. I'd have a portion of I'd have actually a program virtually. I would lock it in with the Bitcoin network. And I'd say, listen, every 10 minutes, you buy X number of Bitcoin, but it would be light. You understand? It wouldn't be my full thing. I'm going to take 15% of the cash I have on hand, and we're going to just ease into Bitcoin as GBTC's liquidations add pressure to the price. We can't buy too aggressively because it'll offset the distributions, the selling from GBTC. So we'll do it lightly, just enough to where it doesn't halt the price decline effect from their constant redemptions. All right. And every 10 minutes, you're going to buy this number create a program. Every 10 minutes, we want this amount of Bitcoin. And that's how I would play this if I were BlackRock. But just understand that cash coming in for this does not have to be deployed right away. It has to be, once the cash on the side is used to purchase the shares of the ETF, then they have a certain window of time before the clock starts running as to how much time they have left to purchase. It's not immediate. So the cash purchases the shares, right? The client gets the NAV price at that moment, and the clock starts ticking. and the affiliate partner that has to go out and decide when to get the shares inside of this window. So I don't know what the window is. I don't know what some of these ETFs have worked out with the SEC. Typically, what an ETF has to do is usually by the end of the day, usually by 5 p.m., you know what they've done. But it could be the following day, it could be 2 days. There are these arrangements you can make with the SEC as an ETF to say, look, grant us permission for 5 days at least. Give us this window of time. This is new. This is new. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying. But so it'll take about a week or two for us monitoring this to know, because what we'll see is the reporting frequency and the timing of the reporting. And then we'll know it's T1 or it's T2 or it's T0. You understand? T0 would be they're doing it on the same day they make the NAV purchase, or T1 is 1 day later. They've got 24 hours, or T2 is 48 hours. So we will be able to put our finger on the pulse of what it is. All right. And it'll take about a week or two for us to sort of have that on lock. But that's what I would do if I were BlackRock. If I got all of you to give me money to purchase Bitcoin, you think I'm going to take all of it, boom, all of it? No, I'm not going to do that. I might do that with my capital, but not with everybody else's capital. I'm going to spread that out a little bit. I'm going to always have some cash so that if we get a price dump, I can deploy, because I have one price risk if I put it on in one shot. All right, guys. So, guys, I wanted to mention, I was going to actually do a long form post regarding this, and this was a lot easier to sort of get the message out to you this way. And also, I wanted to simultaneously use this as somewhat of a test to see if this is ready for prime time yet. All right. And if it works, I'm cool with it. I'm looking at myself in my account speak, but let me see here. I don't. It's weird that I don't see it here, but I see it on the computer. It's just the weirdest thing. Anyway, guys, just let me know in your comments if you can, if you are watching this, whether the audio was fine, the video was fine, whether just let me know. I see some likes on it. I see 2 comments here on my computer. I just don't know if that's real. I don't. I see Jimmy Jack says, if you sell here, you deserve to lose your stack. So that would make me believe that you are. Oh, enter into live chat. No wonder. Okay, I see this. I see it now. No, okay. Anyway. All right, guys, listen. Ciao for now. Love you guys to death. You know what to do. Go to work. Stack harder. You know what to do. Stack harder. Ciao for now.
My name is Oliver Velez, and I am your 13%er Bitcoiner. Be safe out there, and until next time. Boom!